Hola a todos. Este año comencé a aprender español. Hoy os mostraré mis impresiones. This is about all I can say in Spanish right now, mainly because I don't practice languages, or I don't practice speaking languages until I can understand most things. So I started learning it this year, and in this video I'll share my thoughts. Firstly, I'd like to say that Spanish is probably the easiest language, or not probably, it is the easiest language I've tried to study. I mean, of course I'm helped by the fact that I know Italian, but even still, it's very, very simple. The pronunciation is very simple, the rules are very, very consistent. The grammar is very similar to other Romance languages, but it's a lot simpler. For example, they have grammatical gender, but a lot of the time the words don't even change. Like, for example, mi puerta, mi libro, my door, my book. And to make these plural, mis puertas, mis libros. You just add s. So in every other language that I've studied, these would change. These would change for gender, but in Spanish they don't, which is just amazing. It's what I want, to be honest, in most languages, for it to be simple. So as a lot of things are very easy, you can just focus on words and phrases that you don't understand or don't know. If anyone is looking for like a starter language to get into language learning, I would definitely recommend Spanish because it's just the simplest and probably one. I mean, it's very well spoken around the world. It's very simple and it's very similar to English in a lot of ways. Here I'll show you how knowing Italian and English, but mainly Italian, helps you learn Spanish. Here's an example sentence. The first word el is like the Italian il, meaning the. The next part can be translated word for word into Italian as come altre lingue romance, meaning like other Romance languages. So I can understand these words instantly. The next part also, è il risultato di secoli di, is the result of centuries of. This is the same as evolution or evoluzione. Here, a parte dal in Italian, meaning coming from. And here, il secolo terzo, the 3rd century. And finally, approximately or approssimativamente. The ending mente is used in both languages for adverbs. So just from knowing English and Italian, I can understand about 50% of the words, and I just have to learn the other 50%. As I already mentioned, Spanish is a widely spoken language. It's spoken in Spain, basically all of South America except for Brazil. It's spoken in Mexico. So because of that, you can always find content. You can always find things to read or watch or listen to. At the beginning, I used a podcast called Unlimited Spanish, which is aimed at beginners, but it has transcripts, and I always try to use, say if I'm going to listen to some audio and I'm just starting a language, I always need transcripts, just so I can go through each word and make sure I understand. Because if you just listen to something, but you never get a translation, you won't ever be able to learn it because you have to understand what the words mean. So it's such a simple podcast, which I didn't listen to for too long, mainly because I prefer to get away from beginner content as quickly as possible. I try to listen to and read things meant for native speakers as quickly as possible because of this. One thing I've been using to learn is TED Talks, because there are quite a lot of TED Talks on YouTube in Spanish, and most of them have subtitles in Spanish, which I don't usually use subtitles in English. I don't find them that useful because you can't fully understand how they're speaking. So what I do is I listen to the TED Talk while reading the subtitles. I normally understand maybe 40 or 50%, but then what I do is I go to the transcripts, copy that, and then read those transcripts and translate words in the program I use normally to read, so I can understand what's being said. You can theoretically use any kind of YouTube video for this, but you need to make sure it has subtitles in your target language. Another thing I use to learn languages is video games, which I'm not sure how popular that is, but I find it extremely useful. Say, for example, I want to watch a film in another language. Normally, unless it's English, you can't find subtitles. And if you can find the subtitles, they're normally wrong. And what I mean by wrong is they're different because they're translated by different people. So they'll have a person saying one thing and then the sentence will be written in a completely different translation, which is almost completely useless, and it's almost harder to understand. But in video games it's always correct because it's translated by the same people, so it's just a lot more useful than watching films, I find. Here I'll show a clip of me playing Fallout New Vegas, which has nothing to do with Spanish, but it doesn't matter because it's in Spanish and it's like full immersion, because you have to understand what people are saying and you have to understand what the options are when you're speaking to people. Here's a clip.
Buenas. ¿Qué puede hacer Pete el Pachorras por ti? Era buscador hasta que decidí establecerme aquí para escapar de la RNC. Ahora me lo tomo con calma y ayudo con los brahmanes y los muflones. No, registraba viejos edificios buscando tecnología que funcionase y tal. Algunos lo llamaban buscar chatarra, pero no me gustaba el término. Para mí la chatarra es algo que está roto, casi inservible. Yo buscaba buen material, armas, productos químicos, repuestos, cosas valiosas.
This is what I call complete language immersion, because I literally have to understand what people are saying. So when I don't understand what people are saying, what I do is I screenshot and then I translate the words. Like, for example, in this sentence, I didn't understand buscador, and I translate it and I found it means seeker or prospector. So it forces me to translate to understand what people are saying. It's generally a lot harder in real life to do this because people don't normally have subtitles below when they're speaking, and you can't like pause and translate the words. One thing in Spanish you need to choose is which accent to use, because there are various ways of pronouncing words, but the main one is the CI or E or Z or theta, I guess it's called in Spanish, because it's pronounced differently in Spain. For example, in Latin America, CI is pronounced as an S sound, but it's pronounced as a th sound in Spain. So pronunciación becomes pronunciación. So you have to choose which one to use when you're speaking. It's similar to choosing between British English and American English for English learners, I think. I think I'll choose the Spanish variant just because it's slightly more challenging, I think. For example, the word accept is acepto. Take, for example, a word like accept would be excepto, which is kind of like which is a bit of a hard thing to pronounce next to each other. So when learning a language, I always try to learn a bit of history and culture associated with the language. So here is me practicing reading about Machu Picchu.
Se descubre la ciudad inca de Machu Picchu. I don't think Machu Picchu means anything. Descubre, okay, discovers, okay. The city Inca, okay. Ephemeris. Ephemeris? I don't know what that word is. Okay, ¿qué pasó el? I'm not very good with numbers yet.
24.
20 y 4. El 24 de julio. El 24 de julio de... I'm not very good with dates either.
1911.
Okay, I'll ignore that for now. El estadun... Okay, I don't know how you pronounce that, honestly. Estado okay.
Estadounidense.
Estadounidense. US, okay. Irán Bingham encuentra la insólita ciudad en Perú. Okay. He encountered, or he found the unusual. Do I know that? Not sure. That's a name.
That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. That was just a look into how I learn. I can't say much at the moment, but that's normal because it's not the way I learn. I normally wait a long time before I speak, just until I'm ready. It's just a preference. I hope this was interesting. Thank you for watching.